Good morning, Facebook. Wow, this is twice in 2 days. Usually I do a live feed once a week, sometimes more if some thoughts come to my head and I want to share something, and sometimes just because I like to talk a lot. That's my Aboriginal name, Larry like to talk a lot, Larry talk a lot. So this morning I just want to sing to you guys that song, You Can't Always Get. No, I'm not going to sing to you. Don't worry. Don't shut off. Please continue to listen. You can't always get what you want, but sometimes, usually, you get what you need. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's just talk about relationships. I've had many relationships in my life, but let's talk about romantic relationships. I've had a few romantic relationships in my life. I've been with, I've been in, let's just say I've been in a few romantic relationships. Morning, Sean. I've been in a few romantic relationships, and I remember, meeting someone and when I was a lot younger and thinking, wow, this is the person for me. There was a lot of physical attraction involved at that time. It wasn't very deep, a lot of superficialness that was present with the relationship. Sometimes it was deeper than that. And sometimes, I thought this relationship's going to last forever. And thank God it didn't last forever, because my beautiful wife that I'm with now, and we have 4 children together, is my soulmate. So if it would have lasted forever, I would have never met my wife. But I remember some of the relationships I went through, and really, you know what? Like, I wanted them to last forever, right? I wanted to be with this person. And then a lot of times throughout that process, it didn't work out. And I really found out that what I got, the part about I didn't get what I wanted, I got what I needed, was that I learned about myself, I learned about others, and I learned about the things that I don't want in a relationship. Things that didn't quite work out. Maybe we needed to have the same hobby so we could be together. Maybe we needed to be connected spiritually and have the same faith that was important to me. Maybe we really had to communicate more to understand each other. We needed effective tools to do that. So what I did is I learned about myself, and I learned about what I needed to build a solid relationship. And a lot of times I was unaware of that until I had a relationship that failed. And I could look back and look at those failures and look at my part of it. And what do I need? What would help that relationship to be more successful? Now, there's no perfect people out there, so there's no perfect relationships, but you can see, red flags. And what happened, I ended up taking 2 years off dating. For me, I was in relationship after relationship after relationship, and I took close to 2 years off. And what that allowed me to do is it allowed me to find out my happy spot, my happy place, when I was all by myself. And being all by myself, if I was happy and I was content, I didn't need anybody else to come into that to make me happy. And that was a real light bulb moment for me, to realize that, happiness was within myself, right? That I created that. And also I found out the things I liked and the things I didn't like, because there's no other influence of anybody else. And then when I started to date after that had happened, which I was close to 38 years old, hard to go back out on the dating scene. When I went out with someone, and I went out with, I won't say how many, it doesn't really matter. But when I went out, if red flags popped up, I was kind of like, what I used to do is that if, a red flag popped up, I was like, maybe I could change this person. Maybe this person will change. If only this person was like this, it'd just be, that's the one, right? Just that one thing, if they just change. And again, no perfect people. I'm definitely not perfect. I have many character defects, many shortcomings. But, thinking that if that person, and when I found Holly, I loved her for where she was at. And I loved her just the way she was. She didn't have to change one thing. Obviously, we both have changed a lot in good ways, and there's a few bad ways too, that honeymoon phase that you go through where everybody's on their best behavior and everything. Well, everybody goes through that, right? But anyways, it really helped us, right? And I didn't want to change anything. So I didn't have any expectation she was going to change. If she stayed just the way she was, I was happy with being with her, and I enjoyed her company, and I wanted to be with her the rest of my life. And I proposed to her, and we're married. But that part, okay, so you can't always... I also have another experience about applying for a job. Applying for a job that I think, hey, this is the right job. Prayed about it. Talked to my mentor group about it. Applied for this job a few times. Didn't receive it. I didn't let that be a negative thing because I felt that, I really felt that I was being called to take this position, and I had what it took. Now, I didn't get that. And you know what? In retrospect, and looking at it in retrospect, and a lot of times, I always say, I don't see the face of God, I see the back of God. It's even biblical if you want to look it up, but because it's in retrospect, I see the hand of God involved. And I'm glad I didn't end up in the position, because a lot of extra stress. There's a lot of things. I'm not going to go into everything about that job, but you know what? I really got what I needed. And you know what? I went through the interview process. I was as honest as I could be. I tried to be me. And at the end of it, it was like, if you don't accept me, if you don't want me in this position, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to say lies. I'm not going to be someone I'm not in order to fulfill what you believe I should be. Just like with the dating, right? I was being my authentic self, right? Of course, there's a honeymoon phase. I think with employment, there might have been a honeymoon phase too, right? But I was trying to, right? I didn't change my morals. I didn't change my concepts. I didn't add stuff in that wasn't true about me. I actually said some things that could have really caused harm for me getting that job, but I wanted to be honest, and I wanted to say exactly what I felt. Last time I applied for it, I was like, the only reason I think I'm here applying for this job is because God wants me to apply for this, which they might have thought, wow, this guy's out to lunch, right? Depending on who you are and what experience you have with spirituality. But with me, it was important. So that part of it, right? I'm glad I didn't get that. And then maybe some other people out there have experiences where they didn't get something that they wanted, and they look back and they go, thank goodness I didn't get that, right? Maybe it's that old classic car that you wanted to get, and next thing you know, your buddy has one and he's repairing it every weekend. That's, instead of driving it every weekend, he's repairing it every weekend. But there's many different, and sometimes we go out on a journey, and not just applying for jobs or relationships, but we go out on a journey, an exploration, let's call it. Let's magnify its significance. An exploration that we go on, and we think we're going to one path, or it's going to lead somewhere to something that you're looking for. It's going to give a reaffirmation of something that you already believe is true, right? And something that happened with our family recently is we're always told that we had Aboriginal, Native, whatever you want to say, but we had Aboriginal blood in us, because our great-great-grandmother, her name was Buckshot, and a lot of times with Aboriginal names, it's because of something that had happened, and she got blasted with some buckshot. So anyways, my brother went on a quest, an ancestral DNA quest, because where he's living, there's a large population with that name. So he thought, hey, this may be it. We're related to him. So, thinking in the mind that, hey, this is the journey I'm going to take. I'm going to validate what I already believe is true. And he did that. He found out we had zero Aboriginal in our blood, in our DNA. And I don't know. I don't know why that is. I mean, we've had this story passed on for generations, but maybe she wasn't, or maybe there wasn't enough percentage of Aboriginal. I'm not sure. But what did that do? Well, so something we didn't even expect, and it opened up. And I'm not going to break anybody's anonymity, but we found, and I won't even say where they are in our family tree, but we found two two amazing people that are part of our family that we never knew. And originally, going on to that journey, we thought we were going to find out that we had a Aboriginal in us, which was our family story that was passed down from generation to generation, our great-great-grandmother. And it turned out that didn't happen. And this is about starting off on a journey, thinking that you're going somewhere. You got your map, you got your direction, you have your mind, you're planning. And I know my best plans have got me nowhere at times, but anyways, it's good to have a plan. We found out that we had, through this, that we have two amazing relatives, which is awesome. And I'm ecstatic. I'm excited about it. And the most exciting part about it is that we can help them to understand they've been on a journey and they've been searching and they've had it on their mind that, they wanted to know. They wanted to know the connection. They wanted to know us. They wanted to know what, our family history. And we're able to be a part of that, which is amazing. And so our journey, which we thought was going somewhere totally different, ended up merging with someone else's journey, which has been a godsend, which is allowed them to have some closure, some identity, some answer a lot of questions. And so, you know what? I think we're all getting what we wanted in that situation. I don't know about everybody, but myself, I'll speak for. So that's amazing too. So you never know. You know what? You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometime, you just might find you get what you need. So I didn't put all of that in. It's too long of a title. But anyways, I love you guys. Maybe if you want, you know what? Share with me some of the journeys you're embarking on. I'd love to hear about it. We can talk about expectations. I always say when I have these expectations or premeditated resentments, because if it doesn't turn out exactly the way I think it should, I get pissed off a lot. Not so much now, but the younger me did. But it's good to have expectations too. You can't have expectations. I'm not saying have no expectations. Anyways, love you guys. Have a great day. Enjoy this day. It's actually quite mild out, a little cloudy, but it's mild out. And I'll talk to you soon.